Hey everybody out there, this is Seto, and today guys we're just going to have a discussion video. And I want to say before I start this video, I'm not trying to ruffle anyone's feathers. This is just a discussion video. We're just here to talk about a topic and discuss it as civilized Yu-Gi-Oh people. I guess you could say we're civilized duelists. But we're here to talk about, do people make the game of Yu-Gi-Oh more complicated than it actually really is? Now you may say to yourself, you're crazy. It's complicated. Honestly, maybe it's just my personal experience. Maybe it's I'm not going to say wisdom because that's not what I'm trying to say here. Maybe it's just my experience from playing the game for many, many years that makes me feel this way. Maybe if you're a newer player, you may think that the game is very complex. And I think if you're a newer player coming into the game of Yu-Gi-Oh, it is very complex to learn all these different types of summoning mechanics and learn the basic nitty-gritty of the game of Yu-Gi-Oh. It is hard, I will admit it. Trying to teach somebody the game of Yu-Gi-Oh is super hard. If you've ever tried to teach your girlfriend or a good friend how to play Yu-Gi-Oh, it is hard if they know nothing, if they know jack. Anything, they don't know anything about the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! So that point is true, and I'll agree with that. But what I'm talking about is when a new set comes out, when a new archetype comes out, and people get all in an uproar about, oh my gosh, how are we going to beat this deck? This deck is too good. Oh my gosh, it's unbeatable. It's the best deck ever. And here I am sitting here, maybe I'm the 1% or the 2% of people out there, I don't know, that it's just like, yeah, it's a good archetype, but it's weak against this. Can be hit by this. This old school deck can beat it in this way. It's just another good deck. That's the way I look at pretty much every archetype that comes out nowadays. I don't know why. Now maybe people are going to say, wow, you're really arrogant or something like that. I'm not trying to be. I'm just telling you a fact about myself. When I see a new archetype come out, I see it to myself, okay, what does the archetype do? What cards what old school decks can compete against what this new archetype does? What side deck cards can I use? And basic things like that. And then you can combat that deck. And sometimes you can pick an old school deck that can actually beat a new school deck because it's able to combat the newer school decks what it does best, I guess you could say. And I think people just make Yu-Gi-Oh a lot more complex than it really is. It's just a personal opinion, actually. Just from watching people, some people just they hype things up. They say, oh, this card, how are we going to beat this archetype? Simple. Look at the card. Look at all the, the different the usual suspects, I guess you could say, that you would use in a side deck to combat such deck. For example, I was using an example here. So if I'm facing against a deck that searches a lot, I say, well, I could run Shared Ride or I could run Mistake, and I need to try to find a deck that doesn't search, that, like I've said before, it doesn't, you can use Mistake in a way that it hurts your opponent more than it hurts you. You can win the grind game, and so to speak. Or you can go to your usual suspects. Okay, he's playing a light deck, I'm playing a dark deck. I play light and Prism Mirror. Oh, he's playing a dark deck, I'm going to play dark and Prism Mirror. So, Shadow and Prism Mirror, excuse me. But things like that. Now, I really believe that people make it too complex. I think the part that's really complex about the game of Yu-Gi-Oh overall is an aspect that not a lot of people talk about and not a lot of people give credence to. It's that other game of Yu-Gi-Oh, which people don't talk about. What do I mean by that exactly? I'm talking about that mind game, that part of the game that you only really can get, I have found, from playing person to person, not from playing online. It's that mind game. It's that, I'm not talking about, oh, my deck's all blinged out type of mind game, that makes me a good player. No, I'm talking about, that little mind game. You bring out a powerful monster like a Beast Barkion that's good against a deck that runs a lot of spells. You set a couple of back row and say, go, your turn. That type of mind game. You could be bluffing with 3 MST and a Book of Moon for all they know, for all they know, but it could be a whole bunch of traps too. Those little mind games in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh take it to the next level. The way you play, the way you shuffle your cards, just these all little mechanics, I think, is what makes Yu-Gi-Oh complex. I just think people don't look at it that much, and I think they try to make the aspect of how we're going to beat such and such a deck, make it super complex. But I think overall people honestly make the game a lot more complex than it is. As I end this video again, I believe people make it super complex in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Yes, there are some aspects that are more complex than others in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! But I think overall, at the end of the day, when all is said and done, the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is not super complex. If you have played this game for 2 years, I would say, you will start to understand the basic mechanics, you'll start to understand how things work in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And if you've been in this game for a long time, like 3, 4, 5 years, you have been through things before. You've been through bad formats, you've been through good formats, you know what to expect, you know how to combat certain decks that do such and such thing. Because pretty much, if there's something I've learned about in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is all the new archetypes are just better versions of older archetypes in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! For the most part. Neoclaws. It's a better version of Gishkis. What do we use to conquer Gishkis back in the day? Okay. Another, floater deck. Well, what can we do to stop floaters? Stop searching. Little things like that. Now, it may sound, what I'm saying, it may sound easy in theory, and I'm not saying that it is, but I think it's simple on some levels and more complex on others. So tell me, overall, this is just a little bit of a talk and a discussion, so you can hear my thoughts on the topic. What do you think? Do you think people make Yu-Gi-Oh! More complex than it really is? Or do you think the game is really complex overall? Do keep in mind, and I'm going to say this as a joke, by the way, Konami does say this is a children's card game. Yeah, so just going to say that. Sorry guys, till next time. Take care. Have fun dueling. Good luck dueling. I hope you all enjoyed this video. You took something away for it, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts down below. Take care, everybody. Seto Kaba. I'm out here, guys. Take care, everybody.